I think you're the first one, and a bunch of other people joining as well. Welcome, everybody. So we are waiting for IOTA Heroes and for some more people to arrive, and then we will kick it off shortly. And IOTA Heroes, I can see you. Let me sort out the permissions. And you're a speaker now. Hello there, Grelde, how's it going?
Doing awesome. The weather is starting to be more like summer here, so happy moods.
Yeah, summer is picking up here as well. I already lost hope a little bit when it was snowing last weekend. So yeah, this is definitely a very nice change here. Very much welcomed.
Definitely, definitely. Is the sound okay? Your sound is awesome. So
yeah, everything good on your end. The only thing that could happen is when a scratching noise is coming up. That sometimes happens. You just let me know, and then it'll be a quick fix.
All right. No, sounds great to me.
Okay, and now we have to scroll a little more to see all the listeners already. So, Kelde, you're calling from Finland, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Not exactly. Denmark.
Denmark. Right, right. But still sunny weather coming out there as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's very nice. All of a sudden, there's like a big weather change, like over like a day or two. I think it just rose like 10 degrees, 12 degrees or something. Now it's amazing.
Sounds good. All right, so we hit the 2 o'clock mark. Already a bunch of people here. You're here as well. So yeah, I think this might actually be a good start here. So with this, welcome everybody to the first installment here of Buildsphere. Let me talk a little bit about the format first before we head into it. So the intention of Buildsphere is to connect builders with the community and of course also the wider Web3 space. So while a lot of people here are probably from the IOTA community, the aim of this format is to also get a lot of eyeballs on our ecosystem from the current EVM ecosystem that is out there. I'm your host, Jonathan, and today I'm very happy to host Grelde of IOTAHeroes. IOTAHeroes is the, fair to say, first on-chain game on Shimmer, and Shimmer is the staging network for IOTA. We got big plans for expansion that I'm very keen on exploring a little bit further down the road. Also, a warm welcome to the community. I'll be very eager to learn your feedback, whether you like this format, whether you want to see more of it. So please let us know on Twitter. And if you have any questions throughout, please drop them in the chat, and then I'll try to pick them up towards the end. And of course, also you can grab the mic, come on stage and ask your question directly. One more thing, then we are done with all the administrative stuff, is if you want to register interest in being featured on Buildsphere, please look for the original tweet and find a form in there. It's a very short form, promise. You just fill in the most vital info, and then we will be in touch so we can feature more interesting projects here on Buildsphere. So, okay, having done that, Grelde, why don't you give us a little bit of an intro into yourself and IOTAHeroes so that we get a rough idea?
Yeah, sounds good. And I'm so happy to see that you started this initiative. It's just awesome to see getting some spotlight on the project. I'm also looking forward to see whoever comes next. So happy to be here on the first one. So my name is Christian. I'm 32 years old, and my background is I have a master's in software engineering and a general interest in the whole crypto space and IOTA I've been following since 17. So I've done a lot of research over the past years. I have of course gotten burned quite a few times. I'm sure I'm not the only one here. In the past years, my focus has narrowed, but the IOTA and Shimmer as well still plays a very big part of my interest as part of the crypto space. I should also mention that joining me in bringing the game to life, we also have Fresh Cakes, our lead artist. He does most of the illustration and concept art that you see in the game and on our websites and so on. He's also the owner of a very funky looking promo hero that I'm sure that at least some people are a little bit envious of. It's basically like a kind of diving suit with a cake for a head. It's very, very special. But yeah, so I think that's what I want to say about the team. We have some more people helping out in regards to legal stuff and some extra talent for doing some art and general assets. So, but enough about us. Over to the game.
Right.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead. I didn't want to stop you out.
No, good. It's good time to just split it up. So yeah, IOTAHeroes is our game. It takes place in the magical land of Fortuvia. So that is, I guess you could say, our game world. So the primary inhabitants of Fortuvia are, of course, the heroes. So these are the characters that you control. The main activity or the core activity in our game, at least at the moment, is the adventures. So you can start an adventure if you have a hero. You could also rent one, but might get back into that later. But basically, to start an adventure, you need to equip your hero with some gear, some abilities, and perhaps some consumables. So if you're new and you don't have any items yet, you can find some on the in-game trading post. But an adventure takes approximately 12 hours. Once you started the adventure, you don't really need to do anything else. You can check back whenever it's convenient for you to see basically what happened on the adventure. You can see combat simulation. So you will face off with some encounter or monster on your travels. And if you're successful in besting your opponent, you will be rewarded with some gold and perhaps some game items, which could be gear of different rarity. Yeah. So based on the hero that you choose to adventure with, his levels and the difficulty that you select, you will go against a different set of monsters. So I would say that is the core functionality. We have, of course, other activities for the users to engage with. We have the training facilities where you can build out your gym or your library. There's 4 different ones. So you can train your heroes and they will be stronger and face tougher opponents on the adventures. And yeah. Right. So we also have some different crafting activities where you can discover new abilities to use for your heroes or craft some useful trinkets through the reforging system. Here, basically, you take some of the items that you no longer want to use and you can reforge them into something that might be more beneficial. It also might just break and you're left with another item you can't use for anything other than reforging that one again. You would need 5 items to reforge into one new item. Right. So I think that's the main activities for like the game aspects. Of course, we have the trading post that I mentioned, and we also have the hero marketplace. So a lot to do for players and traders alike. I would also just mention that we tried to take a community-focused approach. We would like to do collabs with other projects. For example, we did some with Epoch Zero and their Pharaohs NFT collection, as well as we had some crossover with IOTA Bee, where we made this fun item that you can wear in your helmet equipment slot, which is basically a swarm of bees just circling around your head, which I thought was a lot of fun. But we hope to see a lot more cross-project stuff in the future, especially when we start to see more games coming out, so we can make some more involved collabs. It would be awesome to see IOTAHeroes assets in other games, as well as seeing the assets of other games come into life in our game as well. Like could be as a monster, or like an opponent, or special type of equipment where you need to hold this other NFT from the other game. There's so many opportunities, right? So yeah, I hope that sets the scene from for the game and the project and what we're about.
Awesome. Yeah, I can sense a lot of passion in that. That is for sure. So yeah, very excited to see whether there is going to be any collabs. That would be certainly very cool to see. Yeah, so Christian, maybe you can talk a little bit after giving us like a general oversight about like what motivated you and the team to actually go out, make a game, make it on IOTA. Maybe you can walk us through a little bit of your thought process here.
Yeah, of course. So initially I heard about the fact that we would get an EVM chain in the IOTA ecosystem. Of course, now that's a couple of years ago. And that was kind of the spark. I wanted to build something in the IOTA ecosystem and provide some sort of fun, lighthearted project for the community to interact with. And personally, I've always been into gaming and RPGs, and really wanted to create something myself for a long time. So I think coupled with my interest in DLTs and token economies, this was right up my alley. So it's been also a very awesome learning experience, and I think now we launched it on ShimmerEVM, as you mentioned in the beginning, a staging net. It's always hard to foresee how that ends up when you start it, right? But I think it has been awesome to see the interest from the community and to validate the tech as well as the ideas, and to start creating a new community around IOTAHeroes. I could also mention that I met Fresh Cakes in the Axie Infinity community, where he basically was a scholar. If you know about the Axie Infinity, a couple of years ago, they had a whole setup around scholarships where you would have other people play your assets to earn, basically. Not sure I really think that's a great system, but it did create some nice friendships, and we had been in talks of doing something together, and this was the perfect moment, because his art style really is what I had hoped for, like lighthearted, and yeah. So that's basically how we got started, and then now that's kind of almost many years ago. Yeah, so fun looking back.
Yeah, in terms of user traction, I mean, you started your project before I started at IOTA, and I've been hearing like a lot of traction has been originating from IOTAHeroes. So yeah, I mean, the evidence is on the chain. It is certainly very well received. I think it's also a good time to invite everybody here of our listeners to actually go to the website of IOTAHeroes.com. So when we are talking about a little bit more of the intricacies, then you can also click around, and it'll be easier for you to grasp what is being discussed. So IOTAHeroes.com. And that is my segue into the next question here. So let's assume that I just minted my hero NFT. Like, can you walk us through a little bit of what is the sensible course of action to take? What is the outcome that I desire? How do I get there?
Yeah, of course. And I think I might adjust your starting point a little bit because currently it's not really easy to mint a hero because we have shut down the founder sale. But that shouldn't stop you. So even though you can't mint a hero, you could still go in the marketplace to buy one from other people. There's certainly still some for sale. But even without owning a hero yourself, you could actually rent other people's heroes. They would earn a little bit of Shimmer. Now it's very low, a very low price. I think it's probably less than a Shimmer or around that. So it would be fairly easy for anybody, I would say, to start their first adventure. And yeah, that was definitely where I would start. So go pick a hero and just send an easy adventure to begin with. You shouldn't really need to gear up for the easy adventures. Without any items, you can't do any crafting, of course. So while you're waiting these 12 hours for the adventure to finalize, you could browse the trading post. It's kind of fun to look at what items are out there. It's very cheap to get a set of equipment at this time, and the trading post has some search functionality. So I would definitely spend some time browsing that. And there's also a lot of resources in the Discord, and the community has been very nice to give some tips for beginners, what they could do, and some basic strategies. And I would also like to highlight that actually the community made a wiki with a lot of this information. Which is just a really nice sign, I think, that the community is very involved.
Absolutely. I would say it's a clear indication of that. Let's talk a little bit about the outlook of IOTA Heroes. So what is coming next? And what is the plan for the chain migration? I think that is also a very, very interesting question. Maybe you can walk us through how that is going to look like. And what is next for IOTA Heroes as a protocol, and moving from Shimmer to IOTA EVM, what is going to be different from a user perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the two you mentioned here, the two main tracks of attention we have right now regarding the game. So maybe I should start with the outlook before getting too technical with the migration plans. I think we have shared some pointers, and I think if you have been following some of the things that are coming. We recently shared this concept art for the hatchery, which I think will be fairly interesting. I think the community has been pretty asking a lot about the mysterious X. Basically, it's a game item that if you minted 10 heroes in one transaction, or 8, I believe, you got this mysterious egg of a color. Like there's 5 different colors. So putting 2 and 2 together, they might have something to do with the upcoming hatchery. And we might finally see what's inside of these eggs. So I think that will be really fun to present to the community. But right now, I feel like, and I can see from the stats, the interest in the ShimmerEVM and in the game itself is lower than some months ago. So I think it would make more sense to unveil that once we are up and running on IOTA EVM. Just some thoughts on that. So that's definitely one of the things that are coming. I don't want to say too much more, but I think you can maybe guess where that is going, and if not, that'll also kind of be fun if you guess wrong. So one of the other things is now we have the PvE element. We have adventures, but I think without any sort of place other than the adventures to use your equipment and to use your game items, it will kind of go a bit stale, and that's what we've seen. We have in the past made or hosted two separate PvP tournaments. One of them is it's possible to see the recording on YouTube. The past PvP tournament that we did for the Halloween event is not on YouTube due to me not recording, even though I had planned it. So that was kind of an oops, but we had a lot of fun with the people who tuned in and participated. But these PvP events are kind of not something you can do all the time, or that would be something that happens once in a while. I think we should do more of those because it's been quite fun, and the community has been very engaged with those. But I think it would also make sense to have a different PvP element where there's different ideas basically, and I'm not sure which direction we go for yet. It could be some sort of seasonal ranked matchmaking with seasonal prizes and some maybe special trophies, and that would also be a way to reward the remaining promo heroes. But it could also be something such as duels, like you could wager some gold or some shimmer saying that I think my hero can beat your hero, and basically that could be settled on chain. There's still a little bit of a legal thing that we need to check on that one, but I think right now is the perfect time for the community to bring up ideas on how PvP could work. It doesn't have to be just one solution. We could do something now and something else later, but definitely taking ideas on what the community thinks could be fun. To me, it makes sense if we have some sort of element like the adventures you do sometimes a couple of times a day for PvP as well, where you would match up against others and maybe we would have a ranking or something like that. But would be very keen to also hear more from the community what you all think could be fun, because in the end it has to be something that you would like to engage with. I think we'll also try to make a channel in the Discord for ideas specifically around PvP to discuss what everybody would think to be fun. We are in general very happy to take feedback and use that. It is something that is supposed to be fun for the community. So I think that's I think what I got around the outlook and the game itself.
I think it would have made more sense to split up that question into two parts. So I think that covers the outlook in a lot of detail. Interesting. I mean, PvP elements, I like the sound of that. Community getting involved to, make decisions. I think that is a great idea. I like the sound of that. So Christian, I want to bring you to the topic of getting a grant for developing here on IOTAHeroes. Of course, there are a lot of details that we cannot discuss, but just to shout it out once more again, there is currently a grant program. You find it on our blog. So if you have a cool idea for a project, you want to get funding and expertise from the team, then that is the place where you should go. And Christian, maybe you can talk a little bit about your experience in dealing with the grant application, the process, and everything of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I think it's just super cool that we actually have this new entity that is capable of issuing grants for stuff like this. initially I had thought that it might not make sense to apply for a grant, because honestly I don't know too much about the process, and like why would it be for me, so, or for the project. But I would say that it's fairly simple. I mean, even if you don't think it makes sense, maybe somebody else does, and it's basically a form that you have to fill out, and I'm sure it's a lot longer than the form to be on Buildsphere here, but yeah, it took a while. But yeah, after that, there was a lot of great conversation. Spoke with Mark as well, and yeah, I think we got something really good going. And of course, I can't say too much about the grant details, but I would say in general, it's to migrate the game onto IOTA EVM. So it would help cover some of the smart contract rewriting and token migration, as well as the subgraph development and some changes. Because one of the really great benefits of IOTA EVM is that we'll have some more infrastructure players. Like we should have some infrastructure provider to help us host our subgraphs. That's been a big pain point for me, having to host that myself. And if you've been playing the game and sometimes see this blinking blue icon, that's because the subgraph server is having some issues. So definitely good things about moving. And I think also that the grant talk here is a good segue into the migration part of the cycle, I guess, we're currently in right now. And just to round it off, I think anybody who has an idea and actually wants to execute should definitely get in touch with the IOTA Grants program, because it's simple, and it's some nice guys, and they're easy to talk to, and we all just want the best for our ecosystem. So definitely recommend. Yeah. So, but for our plans in the migration, it's a lot of work, because, as you know, we have a lot of different tokens. We have the heroes, which is probably the easiest part, because they are basic ERC 721 tokens, and yeah. So, but we also have the multi tokens, the game items, and as I mentioned, we have more than 300 different ones, and a lot of different holders. So it's going to be quite a process. Some are also stuck in the trading post or other places. We also have gold. They also need to migrate that somehow. And I think the fact that we get the chance to edit, it's not really editing, since we're making new smart contracts, right? But we get a chance to fix some of the business logic in the smart contracts. That's a pretty good situation to be in. So it's the perfect time to incorporate some new changes that might make the game run smoother. One of the things that I've been thinking about is if we could somehow move the training part off chain, because currently it costs a lot of gas, and it's not really fun to pay that, because you have to do it pretty often, and it's a lot of writes on the EVM chain, basically, which is always kind of pricey. Of course, not at all if you compare to Ethereum or other chains. It's definitely much cheaper, but if you do it a lot, it will still be a lot over a long session, or a few months of playing, I guess. Yeah, so I think ShimmerEVM was awesome, is awesome. It's nice. We validated our tech. We learned a lot of things, and but ultimately we want to be where the action happens. And I guess after all, it's called IOTAHeroes, right? So yeah, hoping that the IOTA EVM will be the right home. I'm pretty certain of it. So I think also want to mention that for the ShimmerEVM, we were absolute first movers, as you also mentioned. the first game, one of the very first projects, and we were there day one. This time around, I think we might be a little bit more patient and wait for the infrastructure projects to set up properly, so we can get off to a better start, to be more maintainable along the way. So yeah, those were at least some thoughts about the migration projects. It's not really, it's a bit annoying because it takes time away from developing a game. But I think it's important to get this right. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds very promising. I mean, giving thought on how to save users some gas, I think that is a great direction. Yeah, I think everybody who has been in crypto for some ages now, all of these websites that tell you how much money you blew on gas, that is quite the experience looking back on those trackers. So yeah, avoiding that from the get-go, very cool. I'm all for that. So we are very close to hitting the 30-minute mark. So if any of you are having any questions that you would like to pose to IOTA Heroes, then please raise your hand and then we'll get you on stage. What I like to do usually when getting close to the end is like asking the project on a really quick rundown on how would you explain somebody your project when you're getting off on the third floor, you're sharing one elevator ride. That is always pretty good for refreshing the memory. So yeah, Christian, what would be your elevator pitch of IOTA Heroes while we are waiting for people to raise their hand if they have any questions?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I can't tell you how many times that friends or family members have asked, what is this thing that you're doing? And it's always kind of hard to answer because it's a different different type of person asking each time. But I think for this type of forum, I would say that it's an RPG built around a diverse token economy that provides utility for the user's assets and the possibility to discover more tokens as you play. I know that for somebody who's not into crypto, that is not the elevator pitch, but I think it is a crypto game after all. Yeah.
Yeah, my friends would get it. My grandma probably not, but yeah, that is the nature of dealing with Web3. Yeah, cool. So I'm not seeing any hands going up. In my mind, that's always a sign of covering everything in detail. So that is a good sign, I would say. Also, I feel like respecting people's time, 30 minutes, not so bad for discovering so many things about IOTA Heroes. And with that, we have already arrived at the end. So thank you so much, Christian, for coming. Thank you so much for the community. And again, if you are running a project or you want to promote a project that is a good fit here for Buildsphere, please find the form in the original tweet. And now, also very important, everything that has been said in here is, of course, just for informational nature, and none of that can be considered investment advice. All right, with that out of the way, thank you so much, Christian, for coming on. It's been really fun. Yeah, and all the best for IOTA Heroes. I will be watching very closely.
Yeah, and thanks so much for having me. It was fun.
Perfect. It's the last chance to aggressively shill your socials. Where is the best place where people can keep up with IOTA Heroes?
Yeah, so definitely follow us on X or Twitter, and all the chatter is usually around the Discord. That's where you're going to get help if you post a question, and I'm pretty active in there, and we have a lot of nice members in there as well, ready to give some tips. So definitely join the community, and yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks again. New Buildsphere is coming up soon. Stay tuned for the announcement dropping on our socials. Thanks again for everybody. And yeah, see you hopefully around on Discord. Take it easy. Goodbye.
Bye.